So let's do another responsive reading. It's number 468. You're looking for the books or the pull-out drawer. First one. Thank you. And it fits with the title. The title of this responsive reading is We Need Each Other. And direction in terms of where the books are. 468.
Look, anyone else?
We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted. We need one another when we are troubled and afraid. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again.
We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone.
We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumphs.
We need one another in the hour of defeat when with encouragement we find together more instead of gain.
We need one another when we come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey.
All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us.
For sure. I'm just wondering, we planned this to have a very short service and then to go to the cafe. We are all invited to have a free cup of coffee on the Union. So there's that. Does anybody have any remembrances that they would like to share? About Memorial Day, about what it means to you? If you, as Steve said, he had his dad. Penelope.
Hi. My dad, my father was a surgeon, and he enrolled, wasn't drafted, he volunteered in Canada to the Royal Canadian Army Medical Corps. And he was stationed in Holland and places like that towards the end of the war, I believe. And he wasn't in a field hospital. He was in the second tier of hospitals, bringing both military and civilian wounded. And he took care of them for a couple of years there. And we were left up living in northern Canada, my mother and three of us. The others were post-war babies. And it was a hard time for my mother to be alone in a very, very cold place, often 20 below for weeks at a time. But eventually my dad came home. They didn't let him go right when victory was declared. He had to stay because some of the wounded couldn't be moved immediately. So he was late coming home, I think 46 or later. And of course, he'd been away a long time. And he took the train up from Toronto, came over on Queen Elizabeth, I think, as a troop ship to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and then came by train up to where we lived. And we went to the train station to meet him. And he got off the train, and I don't remember if he was in uniform or not, but I didn't recognize him because I'd been very young when he left. And my older brother ran and threw himself in his arms, and I was terribly worried that he picked the wrong man. So he came over and hugged my mom. We were waiting, and then he turned to me and he picked me up and he hugged me really hard. And all of a sudden, I knew it was my dad. And after that, we had many, many happy adventures, actually, because he was the district coroner in a small mining town. And so I'm very thankful for all the different countries that came together against the fascist regime in the Second World War. And just one last note, the colonial forces played quite a large part in the Second World War. So in one of my visits to Ghana, I visited my husband's, what's the name of it, godfather. And up on the wall, there was a big, big picture of him in his Second World War British uniform. He had served in that war, and that sort of touched my heart. Yeah. So that's my memory. We have our Memorial Day in Canada on November the 11th, which is I think the anniversary at the end of the First World War. It's called Remembrance Day. And everybody buys a little red poppy and we wear it in our home. I wish we had some military parades around here. I would like to see, some of these veterans of all the wars and celebrate them more personally.
Heritage.
It's nice to be back. I remember that tablecloth from like 30 years ago, maybe.
Nothing's
I loved it. I loved it. Yeah, so my dad fought in the Korean War, and he lived. He had physical scars. My younger brothers always said he had like a lost shrapnel metal in his knee, and he died in the 1970s. So I was like a young teenager, but he suffered. I don't even know if they called it PTSD back then, but he definitely suffered, emotional and psychological scars. And, you can't come back from some of that without that. And it's I think a lot of people, bury it. I don't really know too young to know what my father did with it, but, it's a really, life-changing that a lot of people in our country have gone through. Sometimes you don't realize it until they either share with you later in life, or you just kind of make sense of it yourself as a family member of.
Any other remembrances? Okay, let's do number 121. We'll build the land. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness is all morning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like water, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Let's change those sisters and brothers to siblings and cousins next time. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Oh, build a land where siblings and cousins, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like water, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land building up ancient cities, raising up dead devastations of old, restoring ruins instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Oh, build a land where siblings and cousins, anointed by God, may then create peace where justice shall roll down like water, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where the yokes of righteousness scatter people. Oh, come build a land, my people be saved. Build a land where siblings and cousins, anointed by God, live and create peace, where justice shall roll down like water, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. So we give thanks this day of remembrance, this day to honor all those who have served justice and peace. And we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish our chalice, but not the fire of commitment. Understanding the humanity of all people and making it manifest in the world until we are together again. Happy Memorial Day. And we are going to the newly opened cafe to eat together. So we'll just quickly pack up the room.
Does it open at 11?
They open at 11.
They open at 11.
They are down there.
11, yeah, but you can go in now, so we can chat.
We can chat. We love to chat. But maybe before we go, because we have new people in the room, maybe we could all introduce ourselves. I'm Laurie Stuart. I'm a founding member of this congregation. I live in Narrowsburg, south of town.
All right. My name's Stephen. I live in Harrisburg as well. I've been here since 2017, 2018, I should say. I used to live out in Henderson, Nevada, believe it or not.
We drove over.
Take a blow away here.
Who's next?
I'm Tom Rue, also a founding member of Fellowship of 1987. My fiance.
Down the street.
I'm Nan Weinman, and I live in Pennsylvania. Way over there.
They're Mondo, right? Mondo.
Well,
Yeah. I'm Jill Padua. My father was born and raised in this town. I grew up in New York City, but moved up here when I graduated from high school in '74. My father retired, couldn't get him out of the city fast enough. Came back here. I left for a few years, came back and been back here for 45 years-ish or so. Came back in 1980. Yeah, so, and made it my home. And this is my granddaughter, Desiree.
Hi, you.
And they live over in Tyler Hill. Yeah.
My name's Mary Paige Lane Klaus. I've been up here about 30 years. I worked at the public library here in Narrowsburg for 10 years before now I work out in Monticello, but I used to go to the Fellowship in Beach Lake with my guys with this big. Now they're real big, girl guys. And, yeah, so I try to get back whenever I can. I live in New York, I'm trying to New York.
I just want to add a little caveat. I was at Pete's Market, and this tall blonde-haired man came up to me and said, "You look really familiar." And it was her son Charlie, who I did a child dedication for. I was like, "It's amazing that he recognized me." I would not have recognized him.
From the dedication.
From 6 to 26, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Andrea Varsovic. We're summer members of the fellowship. Hail from Philadelphia. We're members of the Unitarian Society of Germantown.
Heidi Finkelberg in Shahola.
That's it.
That's it.
Rudy Sprickle, Andrea's husband from Shahola. And recently, we are in Philadelphia. We recently moved to retirement committee, which is quite an adjustment, but very good.
Sure.
Penelope Darcy, I moved to this area in 2012, I think, from New York City, where I had been teaching at the MCC for a while. All my children live in New York City, and I just live by myself in Damascus on the river.
Nice.
And read and write and dream, and I love it here. I'm just fighting moving back to New York.
Hi, my name is Linda Gendelman. This is my husband, William Campbell. And we come from Sullivan County, a little place called Mountaindale, and you probably never heard, not far from Monticello. And I'm a retiree from New York City Public Schools. And I was a teacher and a counselor, and presently I'm a mental health counselor.
You say something?
William.
Oh, yes. You want to hear? I'm from Manhattan, the East Side. Grew up there with the private school. Went on to college. Nothing really spectacular, except I had a lot of fun. I live in Sullivan County with my wife. You know how Sullivan County is, Budweiser and chainsaws. And I enjoy coming here. And I enjoy specifically some of the natural that we're given here. Thank you.
All right. There we are. We're a crew.
We're true. We have, okay, good.
All right, so we'll straighten up the room and head over to the cafe. Thank you all for coming.